And coming to a town meeting, so.
The first part of our meeting is public comment. Oh, I need to open the meeting, sorry. Just jumping right ahead of myself.
Yes, dear.
I move that we open the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Okay. The first order of business is public comment. This is for any item that someone would like to bring up that's not covered on tonight's agenda. Is there anything anyone would like to bring up under public comment? All right. Seeing none. I move that we approve the minutes of December 5th, 2023.
The only thing I saw on
Can you
page,
second?
huh?
Second.
Oh, second, yes.
Okay, sorry. I jumped right into it. Oops.
I know.
I know. Okay, Carol.
On page 3, we said, we're discussing the employee handbook. We review the entire handbook for 6 months. I think that was in the first quarter. We talked about making sure that we did that in the first quarter. I had it highlighted.
You what?
I just had it highlighted. But we were gonna review it, but I didn't go back and look at the meeting to see if we'd set a timeline. But I think the first quarter's.
First 3 months.
First 3 months.
But
3
I
months we
think
could
we'll
set
say longer than that, because the first 3 months we're getting ready for town.
town meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, whatever.
so we can just, given our record of problems, maybe we should
That'll be September.
give it 6 months. And then we'll be done. I was wondering on page 1, where we give permission to the building committee to contact property abutter to see if they would consider selling for one contingent lot. I'm wondering if we meant contiguous, because we're talking about an abutting lot, right?
I think so.
Contingent would mean that
Based on.
some dependent on something else. But I think we were talking about, wasn't the lot adjoining, so I think it should be
Contiguous.
contiguous instead of contingent. And I didn't know that we needed the 4, would consider selling one. To see if they will consider selling one contiguous lot.
Yeah, I don't really need a forward.
Oh, I think on the top of page 3, one of the supplemental for Kaylee and Ryan Abbott. On the actual form from the assessor, it was ABBOT. Spelled differently on the summary sheet. And then just on that same page, the town manager will, under LD 2003, the town manager will reach out to the planning board chair to ask them to begin work on this for ordinance updates, either, I would just suggest either at town meeting in March or June ballot, moving the either to after updates. And just one more thing on page 4, where we talk about receive a donation for the tree from Mark Glenowitz. Native Notions, I would like to say Matt Gothier of Native Notions. And Lynn Madsen, so that Matt's name is recognized as well.
And under that, I still, I guess I just want to make sure that that was approved, and if it was approved by whom, because it wasn't in the same site, it was actually a different site. And I think we talked about that briefly, about being safe and being sure that if something is placed on town property, that it goes through the proper channels. So someone had to have given approval for that. And I would like to know who gave approval. It's not that I think it's a bad thing, but it never came before the board.
Can we check that out for the next meeting?
Yes, ma'am. Well, somebody should probably know now.
I think Corey met with them. He was not there when they put it in, so.
Because we need to be really mindful of things like that. It could get us sued, it could get us fined by the state. It's just, it's one of those things where you have to find the proper procedures.
Lesson learned. Okay, any other questions on this? All in favor of the minutes with the amendment as amended?
So you had a motion.
I had a motion to accept, and Carol
You
seconded.
did a motion to approve. So we need to, so we should probably
And
just
we-
back out and make a motion to approve them as amended. Because we should rescind the first ones if we do amend them.
I move that we approve the minutes as amended.
Accept.
All in favor, Dan? Oh, you were, sorry, Carol,
Yes.
Melanie,
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes, so 4 yeses. Dan abstained
Oh,
because he
Dan,
wasn't here.
abstained.
All right, under unfinished business, we have the diversity resolution and the background. I did speak with Kim Lindlof at the Chamber of Commerce, and she gave me the background of how this originated. And so it's still something that the Mid-Maine Chamber, the Central Maine Growth Council, various municipalities would like to get back on track and try to encourage other towns to join in the effort so that Central Maine can be identified as an area that supports diversity. So shall I read the resolution?
Yes.
Town of Belgrade Board of Select Persons Municipal Resolution 2023, Town of Belgrade Diversity Declaration. Be it resolved by the Belgrade Board of Select Persons, acting as municipal officers, that the town of Belgrade strives to be a community that is welcoming and supportive of all its members, regardless of race, religion, gender, age, sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression. And diversity is part of our history, culture, and identity. And this diversity declaration endeavors to foster and promote an environment that allows for all members of our community to feel valued, appreciated, and free to be who they are at work and at play, just as much as they are at home. And to grow and nurture a culture where inclusiveness is a societal norm, not just an initiative. And to foster a deep sense of pride and belonging, regardless of our individual differences. And to unify our shared commitment to prosperity, ingenuity, and civic responsibility. And we will routinely examine our beliefs and biases to ensure that we are upholding our values around diversity and inclusiveness. Communities that actively lift the human spirit and support diversity and inclusion are proven to be strong societies where equity is more readily practiced and more obviously accepted. Any questions? Comments?
I move we accept the resolution. Or approve the resolution.
A second vote.
We should change the date though.
Yeah, the date will have to be changed.
Yeah, the copy you have to sign is correct.
Okay, super, thank you. All in favor, Melanie?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Dan?
No.
Peter?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes, 4 yeses, 1 no.
So let's talk about,
Sorry?
what was that all about? A little more about
This is in the packet. It's something that we've been looking at for a little while. A diversity declaration declaring our community to be welcoming of all types of people.
What was that before too?
Well, this formalizes it. This
Before,
makes it,
So
makes
doesn't
a,
make-
makes a statement.
It doesn't make a sanctuary town or anything, does it?
No,
But it's a start of it.
I think this is just a standalone declaration of,
Well, no one in the town really knew about that. All right.
okay, under new business, we have secret ballot petitioners who are here tonight. And we're very happy to have you here, and, we are, we'll take you in the order in which you'll appear on the ballot for questions 3 through 7. This is for, this will be on a secret ballot that's voted on Friday before the town meeting. So first we have Seven Lakes Alliance, and this is a request of $60,000. Seven Lakes, $12,600, Belgrade Lakes Association, $24,000, Friends of Mesalansky, $19,650, McGraw Pond Salmon Lake Association, $3,750. Laura?
Yeah. Thanks very much for having us here to just speak for just a moment. I know that I don't need to tell you all, because you've been very supportive of the value of lakes to this community. And we appreciate the citizenry putting all of us on the ballot. I know that Kathy's here from Friends of Mesalansky too, and Bert is here from BLA. McGraw Pond Salmon Lake Association. Also, I don't know if Lenny's on the Zoom, but we all work together. This funding would be split as discussed amongst us. But the thing I want to stress is that we all work together on many aspects, whether it's YCC, milfoil removal, courtesy boat inspection, and we all work together to leverage these funds to bring in state and federal and private funding to the town of Belgrade. Also, in sometimes a very direct matching way and sometimes in a generic collaboration is rewarded by many other partners. We have really, Seven Lakes has successfully gotten Section 319 Clean Water Act fund grants for all of the lakes over time. And this coming year will be in the second year of Long Pond. There are a lot of projects that are going to be really important to keep the dirt and therefore phosphorus and algae out of the lakes. And we also just got the second round of Great Pond funds. So that will include projects like project on Horse Point. It's a very problematic area, puts a lot of erosion into the lake. So we're really pleased to be partnering on those projects with the town as well as others, where I know that Dan and Stuart of our staff have done a lot of planning and legwork to do projects that, foiled by the weather and lots of other projects going on this summer, they're going to be off and running in the beginning of the year for that. So we really appreciate your support for this funding. Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions for Laura? Or for Bert or for Kathy from Friends of Mesalansky and BLA? Thank you very much for coming. And next is Spectrum Generations requesting $1,562.40.
I'm Sarah Lazowski. I'm the Senior Executive Assistant for Spectrum Generations. Probably our best known program is Meals on Wheels, but we also have the Muskie Center in Waterville and the Cohen Center in Hallville, which are open to the public for a variety of programs. But we serve lunch every single day at those two centers, and it's free if you're 60 and up. Anybody else can go and eat, and it's $7.50. But older adults age 60 plus, it's free. Both of those have adult day centers where either adults with memory issues or with intellectual or developmental disabilities can go for the day and do activities and be in a safe environment with medical supervision. So that their caregivers can either go to work or go to appointments or whatever. And then we have activities at the centers, knitting groups, and I know Muskie recently has had some wreath making that are open to the public at very low cost. We do Medicare trainings out of those centers with volunteers. And this increase we are asking for a slight increase from the town of Belgrade, but it's a 5% increase. It amounts to $74.40, I believe, over last year. And as we all know, the cost of gas, fuel, food has skyrocketed, so it's really not that much comparatively. And we've been serving more. I think we went from Last year, we served 70 residents in Belgrade, this year 83 total between all of our services. So, really, we serve the whole town of Belgrade, though, like I said, for anybody that wanted to go to Muskie and have a lunch and socialize or take advantage of one of the activities. That's always open to the public.
Good question. Is there any transportation that's provided, or can people find their own rides, say through neighbors driving neighbors or something?
Neighbors driving neighbors, or KB Cap brings some of our adult day clients into the center. We don't unfortunately have transportation. We do rely heavily on volunteers to deliver all the meals, and they do get reimbursed for mileage, but other than that, they're totally volunteering their time. And we can do the Meals on Wheels program without them. So no transportation unfortunately, but food programs, nutrition, Medicare training and enrollment, and also caregiver services. So somebody can go to one of our centers and meet with the aging and disability resource counselors, and they can hook them up with whatever. If they need transportation, we can connect them to another service, or if they need secure housing, or if they need legal services for the elderly, we kind of connect all those other organizations to one person that can do those referrals.
Okay, thanks for being here.
Thanks,
Next, we have hospice volunteers of the Waterville area with a request for $1,500. Is anyone online from hospice? No, okay. Kennebec Behavioral Health with a request of $350. Sexual Assault Crisis and Support Center with a request of $1,138.
Hi, that's me. I'm on Zoom.
Hi, could you tell us your name, please?
Sure, my name's Kathleen Parody, and I'm so sorry I'm not there in person. I live over here near Belfast, and I
Oh,
don't see very well at night to drive in the dark and with it raining. So thank you for giving me a chance to do this via Zoom.
sure.
So I'll just take a few minutes to share a little bit about what we do. We support survivors of sexual violence. Last year, we supported over 1,000 folks. One of the main services we provide is when a child is, when there's some type of disclosure and there's a report made, a child will come into our Children's Advocacy Center and is interviewed by our forensic interviewer. And then there's a multidisciplinary team of folks in another room that are able to view the interview. But it's a lot less traumatic for the child because they're just in there with one person, and then they only need to be interviewed once. So when they come in, they get to leave with a stuffed animal, and they put their hand on the handprint on the wall. So a lot of those things we purchase with unsecured funds. So funding certainly helps from towns. And then we also provide services to, adults. We go to court with folks when they need to get a protection from abuse order. And when a survivor or someone after they're sexually assaulted goes to the emergency room for care, they call us. And one of our advocates immediately goes there and stays through the whole process if the victim chooses to get a rape exam. We also have a support line that is 24 hours a day, and it's always available. So last year we received about 500 support line calls, and we had individual contacts with 2,500 folks.
Any questions for Kathleen? Peter?
Hi, my question
Hi.
has to do with, and thank you, Kathleen, for describing the situation and the services you offer. My question has to do with the requested amount. of $1,138. I was curious how you arrived at that particular number, since it's not like an even number, like 1,200 or something.
That's a great question. I believe it's 5% of your population. I'm so sorry. As I was getting ready to speak, I was trying to find the number, but it's a percentage of the population, and because of confidentiality, we can't share how many folks we serve from each town. So we ask each town for a small percentage of their population.
I understand what you're saying, so thanks for that explanation.
Sure. I'm sorry, I don't have the exact number.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much for Kathleen for being there, and it's a good night not to have driven all the way over here.
For sure. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Kathleen.
Okay, thanks to everybody for coming in, we appreciate it. Okay, next item on the agenda is is the Kenneth Workman Field tree stump removal. I think this is just informational, isn't
You'll finalize when you do at your next.
it? At the next budget meeting.
Okay.
The warrant articles, yeah, but it was a chance for you all to be able to meet and ask questions.
Yeah. Okay. So. Anne and Jamie?
So I went to the Kenneth Workman Youth Sports Association
Can
meeting.
you just introduce yourself?
Oh, sorry.
Just for the record.
Jamie Dion, I'm the chair of the Belgrade Parks and Rec. Sorry. So yeah, this past August, I went to the Kenneth Workman Youth Sports Association meeting, and they expressed some concern about some unsafe trees that border the property line between the Kenneth Workman field and the RSU 18 fields. During the soccer season, I did have a couple parents bring that same concern to me. The trees are just overgrown and all of the roots are coming out of the ground. Some of them are 6 to 8 inches off the ground, and they're right outside the dugouts where the kids go in and out. I made contact with the school because it does abut the property. They believe it's on our side of the property, but I think the trees are right smack in the middle of the line. They don't have the funds to remove the trees. The trees are a safety issue, so
Did you say RSU 18 doesn't have the funds to help remove the trees?
that's what they said. They said they're not willing to pay for it, but they gave us the authority if we wanted to do it, that we could remove them. They said they have no problem with them being removed.
I want that in writing.
They said if there was a request for funds, they would have to go back and request it, but it wasn't slated in their funding for this year. So they didn't quite say they didn't have the funds, they just said it wasn't slated for funding this year. So they do abut the property line. I believe there's the roots obviously go into both properties, but the safety concern is more on their side than our side. We did get a quote to remove all the trees, the 3 trees, and grind down the stumps. It's $2,500 to remove all 3 trees and the stumps. I know we have funding in the rec reserve, so that's why we're here, is to request if we can utilize that $2,500 of rec reserve funding to remove those trees.
So off the top of my head, my thought is no. And the only reason is that it abuts RSU 18 property, so we're equally responsible. So if we take responsibility for it and there's some sort of an issue, they can come back and say that we removed something that was not our property to remove. My thought is not whether or not they do need to be removed. I mean, my kids played 20 years ago.
Yeah.
They were coming up then. But that we need to have a meeting with RSU 18, and they need to either put something in writing that states it releases the town from any
Yeah.
obligation if we go ahead and remove those trees. But I also think that it should be a 50-50 split. And no different, it's not like they didn't get ARPA funds or anything like that, they used them $600,000 on pickleball courts. Which, not that I'm saying no to pickleball, but that is a butt ton of money. And if they're saying that they don't have their half to pony up, or that they're not willing to pony it up, I'd be willing to bet there's $1,250 somewhere in their budget that we all pay for. So
They did give us permission to remove them in writing, but,
I want something that says
Yeah.
they remove any legal responsibility from the town of Belgrade.
I'd like to have a little bit more research, because I think that even just grinding them down, I think it's probably gonna have to be dug up and removed, just because of the amount of root intrusion that's there.
Well, and the height of those trees, doesn't the roots equal the height of the tree?
Yeah, so I
So
mean,
we're not talking like a 4 or 6 foot
They-
space, we're talking probably a 20-foot area all the way around each
yeah, they
tree.
did say they could grind them down, the roots down, that's the quote we got, but I would prefer the full job.
And what's the time frame ideally before?
Before baseball
Baseball
season,
season.
softball season, yeah, so this spring, maybe March, April. The snow starts now.
Jamie, I would think we need to go back to the school and sitting in on some of the budget meetings, we keep hearing that there's sort of an overage, unexpended money, which has been named by some people as sort of a slush fund. And I'm sure there's at least $1,250 in there that can go towards removing it. So I think we should not be bearing the whole responsibility for this. And I agree, we need to make sure legally we're okay, but
The other thing I would like to see, if we're gonna remove those trees, I'd like to see something else planted there. I don't like just removing trees, and their wind breaks coming across that field and everything else. But I really would like to see something else for that, either hardwoods or something that's
Yeah, maybe a
eventually
little
gonna grow.
little further back so they don't intrude.
Right,
Yeah.
there's something that we can,
and maybe it doesn't need to be a high tree, but it could be like rangers or something, something that's gonna grow up, it'll give a
something,
break. So,
And you said,
maybe Native Notions could give you some idea of what could go in there.
so when you said the $2,500 quote is just for grinding, that's not actually for removing?
It's removal of the trees, grinding the stumps and the
grinding
roots
stumps,
that
yeah.
are, yeah. I mean, I think to do it right, it probably would have to be dug out and just completely removed to do it right, because there is some drainage that goes down there, so.
we fill we can all there, and so groundwork.
Probably the
Yeah.
2,500, that's what I was gonna say, the $2,500 is not enough. That's probably an understatement, you're probably gonna be almost double that. By the time you dig, by the time you have a big machine coming in, dig all them roots out, because them roots are gonna, that big roots are gonna be spread, so you're gonna have to pull back, you're gonna have to do all the landscape, redo the lawns and.
Yeah, so we'll probably get all three groups together, us, the school and K West, and see what we can come up with for, a solution to do it right the first time rather than.
I'm afraid if you don't put something back in there, make some kind of barrier, you're gonna have people come down and driving right across that.
They're doing it now, yeah, they did it last week after
Yeah,
that.
it's a little harder right now, it's a little rough going through there now.
Yeah,
And who's your contact at RSU 18? And
I went right through Dylan Clark, Principal Clark. And he made contact with Dan, that's the email I have, I'd have both the last name, but he said it was Dan. So I confused him with this name.
No, it's probably the, head of maintenance, I think that's the guy's name to go over for, Jeff.
Yeah.
Guys.
and would it be appropriate for Lorna to be involved in the process?
I would think
I would
so.
think so.
To make contact with, maybe, I know, Mr. Gartley's out right now, but somewhere to say,
Could
wait
set
a
a
minute,
meeting,
time out.
Yeah. Yeah, they are right on the property line, which I knew that's, I knew that would be an issue. Those routes probably extend halfway through our field and halfway through that softball.
Yeah, they probably go right into that, it's everything else.
Yeah.
Right. So not saying no, but
That's fair.
not ready yet.
Yeah, no, that's what this is about, just an initial conversation and start just taking down the trees, or do we wanna? Do it,
And I think Melanie's point about the legality is,
yeah,
quite valid.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we're protected.
Say yes to that, like, still want it.
Yeah,
Oh,
I agree.
Absolutely.
Cause that's just, passing the buck.
It's not fair.
No, because technically
Well, and the
we
roots
pay
must grow
twice.
on both sides, not just one
Right.
side of the roots, right?
Right.
So it's got to be a problem on their property as well.
Right, it needs to be a combined effort, so
Yeah.
like I said, they did give us permission, we got a quote, but, I agree that we need to do it right, and I think we need to take them up. We will.
Chris?
Just one other quick question, the all seasons that the contract the town has, is that price fall in that line with the town contract they have with them?
Yeah, we went with them, we got the price of them because we knew they had the contract with the town space.
Perfect, that's, I just wanna make sure we're following the same contract price.
We'll do some.
Craig, did you have a question?
I do, it's about the working field, but it's not about the tree stump removal, I don't know when I should be asking the question. I figured while we was on the subject.
Okay, throw it out there.
Okay.
We'll tell you if we can't take it out.
I've been chatting about, skating rink going on in the field.
It's got a little warm.
Yeah, but,
It's a pool right now.
is it there?
No. Just kidding.
I mean, why would we put it, whereabouts, first I should ask, whereabouts exactly is it going?
Probably in the infield.
So it's gonna be on gravel,
Yeah,
so it's not gonna touch the grass.
no,
The water source is close to the infield, that's why.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to insulate that building,
already is.
it's insulated, we have heat in there.
Yeah,
Okay. So we're gonna plow the driveway. Who's gonna man the lights?
we're gonna put a timer on.
So it's not gonna touch the grass.
No, it's gonna be in the infield. It's a 32 by 64 foot. Skating rink. We've already gone down and measured the infield.
If you're gonna use the dugouts as place to put skates on, and they got rubber mats, so it doesn't damage the concrete. Rubber mats are from some conveyors, I believe some gravel conveyors. So we're gonna lay those down so it doesn't damage that, and so the skaters can come out onto the infield, and that's where all the water is and everything, so. Being on the grass would not be beneficial for water or any other reason, we didn't want damage.
Because, this was brought up before. For the, village green. And that's, and someone from the golf course. Absolutely claimed that it would kill the grass. This field was donated for a baseball field. It was donated by the Hammonds. Named after Kenneth Workman because he put so much time into the place. And it's our busiest, most used field park that we have in the town. So I'd really be disappointed if there was any damage done to the field after the volunteers have just repaired the field and infield. Because it's supposed to be used as a baseball field. I guess I'm all right with it being on gravel. I was gonna suggest the gravel in the parking lot. But if there's any damage done to the field, then we need to rethink it. There's really no towns around that have skating rinks, because they just don't pan out, they're too high maintenance. The weather doesn't, agree with it. And to be an open skating rink, and I'm not against it, but to be an open skating rink, it's very difficult to maintain and keep one up and running for any amount of time. We're gonna be into February before we can get any ice on the lakes. If you were going to do something like this for long term, I'd suggest raising funds and have an open sided building built. I'm really concerned with it being on the workman field. There's gonna be damage done, you have to plow the driveway, the parking lot. It's just not the ideal spot there, I feel. And if you're really serious about a skating rink, then it needs a roof over it. With water supply and lights.
Okay, well, thanks for letting us know your concerns.
Yeah, because we just gave them Ken Bushy put that up. And there was no roof over it, but for the few years that he had it, that place was hopping. And there were a couple of meters. What's that?
How long ago was that?
My kids were younger, so 10, 15 years ago. But, you know, there weren't any, it's popped up for a few months out of the year, but it gave people a chance to get out of the house. There were skates donated that, you know, folks could grab and go.
There was a,
Ken Bushy is right,
Russell Christie.
right behind the town office. Yep, down in there, remember when the buildings first went up? So.
But we are having discussions about improvements in the field, and we'd love to have your input at our Parks and Rec meeting. That's all part of the discussions in the next couple meetings.
Okay, thanks for bringing it up, Craig, and I'm glad that you guys are here to hear the concerns and address them. Let's move on to appointments and resignations. And we'll continue with the tree and stump issue.
Yes, we're gonna prepare a mission for you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Okay, so we have an application from Sydney King to become a library trustee.
Hi,
So glad you're able to come, Sydney.
I'm glad I was able to come too. This has been interesting to watch.
Never a dull moment on the select board.
It's true.
So you are currently a library student, which is a library science student, which is super to have you input on the board.
I also work part-time as a work study over at my school's library as well.
Great. Does anybody have any questions for Sydney?
No.
No?
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, me too, me too. All right, I move that we approve Sydney King's application to be a trustee of the Belgrade Public Library. All in favor, Dan,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Melanie,
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
I'll vote yes, 5 yeses. Welcome aboard. You'll have to see the town clerk to get sworn in, Mary Vogel, and I think you'll be in time for the next meeting, which is on Thursday night. Super, next Thursday, a week from tonight. Okay, thanks for coming, Sydney. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, nice to see a young person come on to some of our committees.
Good night.
Good night. Thanks again. Thanks, Greg.
Yeah, great.
Some reason that skating rink doesn't end up working out, that may work, you know, I'll check out next time, see how flat it is. Can't keep any grass growing up here anyway. Right, you've got a parking lot that's always already plowed anyway,
Right.
Yeah, good idea.
so.
That's
that might
a
be
great
something
idea,
to
yeah.
put- Just put a few posts and throw some temporary lights up there.
That's a great
There'll
idea.
be another place.
Yeah.
Normally you have the slide, use the sleds out back there anyway.
Slide,
Skate, and sled.
same spot.
Yeah,
That's a
Yeah.
great idea.
So if it doesn't work out, then that's what I think they are.
okay. So we have a discussion of bottle box applications.
We had one more come in, from the pantry, so that came in after your board packets were done. This is on your desktop.
And is this within the deadline? What was the deadline?
No,
for
none of
application?
them, none of them meet the deadline. It was supposed to be December 1, prior to December 1, but none of these came in until after December 1.
But don't they
Oh, we
automatically?
already, they're
For the
continuing.
yes,
They're
for the,
continuing. Okay,
for the policy, they continue anyway.
okay, okay.
Absolutely.
These are all 3 are existing.
Yes.
Yeah,
sir.
yeah, we didn't, when I saw this, I thought, oh no, this is a new one. What are we gonna do? Okay, So we have Union Church and we have Belgrade Assessment Swap Pantry, and we have Release Christian Fellowship.
And we haven't had any problems up there, Russ.
No, it's been taken care of. The gentleman that takes care of them does an excellent job.
Okay, so is this something that we need to approve, Lorna?
They already,
They are.
For the
They
policy,
automatically-
they automatically renew.
Okay, and do we want to look at the policy at some point, just to make sure that?
I think we could make it more clear because it's a bit contradictory. But you don't have to do that tonight, but
No.
if you would, if you think of it, read the policy because you'll see there are a couple areas where it's very contradictory.
Okay,
Yeah.
all of those policies should go through that same thing we're gonna review.
Yes,
Right.
Every year we should be,
update,
it's, should be added to that list.
agree,
Yeah,
right,
agree.
okay.
Good.
End of year expenses. So we have end of, Lorna, do you want to take this one?
Yeah. So, Dan reached out to me, Dan and Travis put together a list of things, to purchase end of year. Transfer station as well and facilities management, all, current budget, they all have the funds available for all of these items. I believe Nick included much of the fire and rescue list on the current AP warrant that you'll see tonight. Of course, 6 sets of gear. Oh, there's hospice volunteers. 6 sets of gear is $18,000. But that, some of that was budgeted for 2024. We have the money now, which could take care of part of what we were budgeting for next year. So it's a good idea, obviously, to do so. Same with the transfer station. Ken had budgeted $5,000 for new skidder tires. I think you remember, he mentioned that in one of the budget meetings. He does have those funds available in the current budget. We could get those this year and he could reduce his budget further for 2024, removing that 5,000. Facilities management has funds to set up the security up at the maintenance garage as well. And I've given you what I have for supporting documentation in your packet.
Peter's got his hand up.
Oh, sorry, Peter.
Hi, everybody. So I certainly am not objecting to anything that was presented, but I'm curious about how often the Knox boxes have to be replaced. Is that annually or is that once every 5 years, or I'm just curious?
So this is for knock boxes to go in our trucks, in our fire trucks. So we have to put in our own personal code, so we know who's accessing the knock box keys. We've never had a problem, but it's just, we're getting more and more Knox box out there, so we just wanna know who's getting in the boxes, if anything ever comes out.
The fire trucks don't have Knox boxes right now, so this is new.
Yeah, this is a new thing.
so the Knox box tells you who's getting in to drive a vehicle, is that
No.
correct? No.
No, so so a lot of the commercial buildings in town and some residential buildings in town have a little box outside of the knock box. We have a master key for that.
Okay,
And so what this box is, that we're gonna order, has that key will go in there, and we have to punch a code to get that key out, and that records who gets in, who's handling the key. And then we can download it on the laptop monthly or as needed.
Right now, you've got a master key to half the buildings and businesses in this town, sitting in each fire truck.
Right.
Anyone has access to it.
Right.
This will secure those keys.
secure them, okay.
Bruce, thank you for the explanation. That's helpful.
Yeah, because I wasn't sure what a Knox box was.
The tongue twister, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure
Yeah.
is.
Yeah,
What basically what a Knox box is the town of Belgrade. This company makes Knox boxes, basically one company.
yeah,
You call up and order a box, you say, I'm from Augusta. They'll ship you a box that has master key that Augusta Fire has.
yeah,
So every town has their own master key that will only open boxes in their
Right.
town.
yeah.
Okay, so should we take these one at a time? Fire and rescue, any other questions for fire and rescue, any of these expenses? We don't have a total on this amount, but presumably. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, we do. Remaining balance.
That's within there.
The following page.
Yeah, I mean, I say if the money's there, spend it, because it's not gonna roll in, and then you're gonna turn around and worry back out, put it into next year's budget.
Yeah,
Right, I
I was
agree.
gonna say,
So
might as well
use
just,
it and then produce next year's budget.
yep,
I agree.
absolutely.
So is that a motion, Dan, to approve the purchases from
Yeah,
fire and rescue?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor? We'll do them by department. Or you want to do them all?
We should do it by department.
We'll do it by department, okay. All in favor, Dan,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes,
Melanie,
Yes.
Peter?
Yes,
And I'll vote yes, 5 yeses for fire and rescue. Transfer station skidder tires, I move that we approve the purchase of the tires for $5,000. All in favor, Melanie,
Yes.
Carol,
yes,
Dan,
Yes.
Peter?
yes.
I'll vote yes, 5 yeses.
Just for clerical, that's not skidder tires, it's supposed to be skid steer.
Oh,
Just,
skid steer. Okay.
just when you're doing the minute, one that has a minute.
Yeah,
skid,
you're all gonna buy one tire for a skid.
Right, yeah. It's nothing major, just I know for clarification.
Okay,
that's all.
thank you. Okay, and
You can tell I don't know anything about tires.
okay, and facilities management.
And how much is the upkeep on those? Is this the initial, because this is the problem that we had, this is a pretty hefty amount. And what did we choose to do for historical, for the town, the old townhouse?
Did you hear the question, Corey, about what's the maintenance on these?
Are you talking about the monthly service fee?
Yeah,
$49 a month for I do believe for the fire monitoring notification, and $20 a month for camera access is what I do recall I saw on the posts.
If you look at the two, Seacoast security proposals, at the bottom, it looks like one of these, a monthly amount is $15, so $180 annually. And the other is $35, so it's $420 annually.
I guess I missed that.
That's what, I just found it,
Oh, okay.
seems reasonable.
Robert Bruce has his hand up.
Sorry, Bruce,
The question for Corey, does that include CO detectors too?
Yes, I made sure because when we talked about it, that's something you had mentioned, and yes, it's there.
Yeah, perfect, I just want to make sure.
okay, any other questions?
You're hoping to do it.
Yeah,
I know they have hoping to that and stuff.
there's one in there, yeah. I need two now, once we get the other unit built.
Yeah, well, this system, they should be able to put in, once they upgrade that system.
I didn't know they had it available now.
Well, maybe they don't yet, but they're,
Something maybe for a check on.
because of.
If they don't have it available, they are either purchasing another company or being purchased by another company. They're merging with another company, however it's happening. I think it might have already happened, which is gonna give them tremendously more monitoring capabilities and stuff like that. I got the email or the text message yesterday stating that it's taken place.
I move we approve the year-end spending request for the facilities management for the security and fire services.
I'll second that. Any other discussion? All in favor? Dan?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
I'll vote yes, 5 yeses. Other business. Do you have anything on other business? Okay, moving on to warrants. Okay, I move that we approve the BMV warrant number 144 in the amount of $13,154.15.
Second.
All in favor? Dan?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
I'll vote yes, 5 yeses. I move that we approve the payroll warrant number 145 in the amount of $20,877.73.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Dan?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
I'll vote yes, 5 yeses. I move we approve payroll warrant number 146 in the amount of $3,088.49.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor, Dan?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
All but yes, 5 yeses. I move that we approve the BMV warrant number 147 in the amount of $6,290.94.
Second.
All in favor? Dan?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
All vote yes, 6 yeses. I move that we approve the AP warrant number 148 in the amount of $197,000. It's $197,133.31.
I'll second, but can someone tell me what Ranger lights are?
And who approved 707?
Oh, wait a second. This is, I think this is the last page. This,
It is, it's the last page.
Yeah,
this is the last page.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that got
I'm like,
separated. I
how
know.
did Ranger lights cost
$97,000. The last page got,
Oh,
put in
okay.
front as a separate,
Oh.
separate item. The
All right.
Ranger lights are only $717.
Makes a lot more sense.
Okay, I get it.
Okay.
So instead of,
Put on there, little breakfast lights, that was on the wall.
that's exactly, I circled that and who approved 700 and something additional dollars to be spent on that thing. Because that sounds to me like we've got some LED light fixtures or some such nonsense going on a truck for $700.
They found a $700 light on the top of that job.
And I'd like to know if that's what
Would
happened.
those be flashing lights? Would they be that much?
Because if this keeps happening, then we need to go to the purchase order program that we used to have. Because I don't love when we see things that have been paid for and then they show up on a warrant.
Who's the vendor?
Yankee Communication.
Yankee?
Is that for radio and lights possibly?
And why do
Yankee
you need that in the
Communication
runaround
vehicles.
vehicles?
Strobes, E64 LED stick with removable optics. One all amber, one amber, green. Two of those, $180 a piece, and then labor
Can we return them?
is Corey.
They're installed over there.
Well, nothing like that should be being done without it going through the select board for approval.
Corey, we're going through the, lights on the Ranger. Labor was 4 hours at $80.
Okay,
So can you tell us what this is, why we needed it, and who approved an expenditure of this?
they are lights on the front and rear of the vehicle. So if we're working beside the road, which we use them for coverage of the plows when we're plowing out the dams and stuff like that, we can't just sit beside the road with no lights. They are just 3 sets of lights on the front of the vehicle, 3 sets of lights on the back of the vehicle. That's all they are. They're no, that's what they are. So we have, it's a municipal vehicle. If we're gonna use it as a municipal vehicle sitting beside the road, we need lights that people know we're sitting there.
So I never would have said yes to this, Corey. We don't put light bars on any of our other equipment. And there's no reason that the runaround vehicle that we purchased because we complained about the 2 part-time people having to share a vehicle or get mileage. And now we're upfitting this to be something that we're gonna park on the side of the road at any point in time, and we need to have lit up like the 4th of July.
It's not lit up by the 4th of July by any means. It's 2 small little light bars. And if we're gonna sit beside the road, common sense would be that it would be notified. People would see it sitting there, and as we're plowing and stuff like that, talking back and forth, which we do every single snowstorm, then we need people to see us do it.
Well, that kind of stuff, Corey, should come through the select board. We agreed to the purchase of the vehicle, we agreed to the purchase of a long-term maintenance plan. We didn't agree to tricking up the vehicle in any way, shape, or form. The purpose was to purchase a vehicle that didn't cost a lot of money, but was going to get us what we needed.
Is it a safety issue, Corey, having the lights on?
Absolutely, it's a safety issue. If you've got a municipal vehicle sitting beside the road, why would you not want lights on it? They're not some great big elaborate light. There's 3 small lights in the front, 3 small lights in the back.
Bruce, every fire department vehicle, when you respond to a scene, does everybody have a light bar so you can see?
I have no idea.
Not all of them have light bars, no. Sometimes they're just 4 ways.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things, Corey, that's gotta be, the question has to be asked and we have the right to say yes or no.
Okay. From going forward, then make sure I will do that.
I appreciate that.
Any other questions on the warrant?
Yeah, the $737 for maintenance jackets, what are those?
What page is that?
That is on page 1. And what is the budget for clothing allowance for each department? Because I was the one who originally requested clothing allowances for the transfer station, facilities maintenance. We've got $737 for jackets. We've bought someone boots. So do we have a clothing allowance line? And we should have one. And if so, what is it?
I don't have the, department budget in front of me. Yes, I do, kind of. Uniforms, $1,200.
Or does that include boots, jackets?
It looks like $355 had been spent, so there was a balance available.
So that would be $300 per person if we have 4 employees for facilities maintenance.
Yes, so yeah, if you looked at that, that way, yeah.
I would, so who got the jackets? How many jackets are $737.38?
Corey, can you answer that?
There is no jackets for $737. they might have combined jackets that they got from the transfer station and my jackets. I bought 4 jackets at, I think, $70 or $75 a piece.
So can you look at?
Yeah,
B&B
but who's the
rate?
vendor?
B&B.
B&B.
Because if that's the case for it, should not come out of your budget.
We can definitely check in to see where it is, but I did not spend $700 and something on 4 jackets.
That's why I was asking. I was like, dang, that's a lot of, that's a lot of jacket.
It's
I
not,
bought the cheaper version.
oh, B&B, okay, embroidery and. There are 3, 2-in-1 jacket, $183 each, 1. 2-in-1 jacket, $188. And it's PO'd to maintenance. Total is $737.38.
Then there's something wrong with that because I bought 4 of the same exact jacket, 2 in large, 2 in extra large.
Yeah, well, they got the same part number. They got 3 with that item number and then 1 with the same item number. So it's 4 jackets and it's,
All the same.
yeah, it doesn't list them as per sizes. It's just.
Would
some-
one be the jacket, Corey, and the other be the embroidery on it?
No, it's $10.
No,
cheaper.
the embroidery, there's no embroidery. It's just a iron-on patch that they put on the back of the town
Okay.
symbol on the back. It's same jackets that the transfer station has been buying for years.
Yeah, what sizes did you say you got?
I think I got a 1 2X, 1 extra large, no, 2 extra large and a large.
Okay, the 2X they charged more for. That's why it's broken out as a single one. Same item number. It's just a bigger jacket. $188.35 for that one. It's $183 for the other 3.
Instead of 183.
I'm gonna check on that then because that is, I'll check on that tomorrow.
Yeah, because it is, all 4 of them came to $737.38.
So if that's the case, let's make them last a couple of years.
But are those bright fluorescent jackets?
Yes, with the reflective stripes going down around the back.
Yeah,
Yep.
cheap.
No.
Would not surprise me if that's what it cost, because I had to buy a couple for a job. I was required to have them on my guys for
Yeah.
a job, and they were 100, this was about 3 years ago, and they were 150 or $160.
I thought when like yours, mine was a couple hundred.
Oh,
I say,
yeah.
these are $400.
Yeah, Scott and I both got
Yeah.
jackets.
But you don't replace them
They're
every year.
expensive.
No,
Jackets are
No.
And we shouldn't.
You shouldn't have to replace them.
normally a jacket will last you 4 to 5 years.
So we shouldn't do.
Okay, anything else on the warrant?
Hang on. The laser printers, we spent $1,100 on page 4 for 2 printers, one for the facilities and one for the cemetery.
Corey, we put new printers in.
I put a new printer in my office because the printer that I had did not work. And we have a second one that will be used to print up in the garage when Kevin is working up in the garage. And those are both ones that Nick recommended because they match everything else we have in the town. Well, at least in the town office.
Or ink.
Yeah, all the ink cartridges are the same. They're just black and white ink, no color.
So what do we need the printer for in the maintenance garage? What are we printing up there?
Kevin works up there with the cemetery software. And instead of running down to the town office to print stuff, he's gonna print it up there as soon as we're set up. Right now, he runs back and forth with his iPad, printing stuff down to the town office, then coming back up.
Okay, and are these wireless printers? So they're Bluetoothed?
Yes, they can be.
All right, not that I want to hammer on you, Corey, but while you're still here, on page 5, we have a $217 tire and it just says facilities maintenance truck.
$270 what?
$217.95 says tires for facilities maintenance truck.
Oh, put
So
the
just
snow
put-
tires on, and one snow tire was bad. They were supposed to warranty that and they refused to. Good old town fair tire.
And then on the,
So which truck is that for?
The F-350 dump truck.
Okay, and I guess the only other question I have is, we just approved tonight a Knox box for the fire department end of the year, but it looks like on this warrant that our Knox box was already purchased.
That's probably what's correct.
It's, anything included on the AP warrant has not been purchased. Nick included many of those items in the event the board approved the purchases, because we have to close books tomorrow.
Okay, because stuff on the warrant is stuff that should already have been approved. But otherwise, if we didn't approve that, we'd be looking to do an amendment on it. Taking those amounts out. If it's already been approved, why are we looking at it? We've already approved. We didn't approve it until tonight. But it's on the warrant. But if we weren't looking at it, we're starting something by that wasn't even approved until tonight. Right, but that's because.
There was 2 Knox box purchased earlier this year. Maybe the bills just came through. One was purchased through Travis for the North Belgrade Community Center, and one was purchased from Travis for the town garage. So I don't know whether that is what you're seeing or not, but I know one is still got to be installed. The other one has already been installed.
What is the amount, Melanie?
5141, it was what we approved tonight for the Knox.
We have 5,400 on the list, so that's probably it, only it's less expensive.
You said that Nick put the expenses on the AP warrant
Yes,
that we.
If we don't
that
approve them,
they
then
haven't
we
been
have to
paid,
take
but in
them
the
off.
event that we approve
they,
them.
right, these have not been paid out, checks have not been mailed, nothing goes out until the board meets and approves. And then checks are finalized and they go out. So,
Why am I not seeing skid steer tires on?
he may not have included that. If he didn't, we'll have to do a quick warrant in the morning.
Yeah, so that's, I don't want us to just guess. Because if that was the case, everything should be on here, probably.
Yeah, so it's Knox box. This may not be the one that we approved tonight. This may be one that was purchased another time. So we'll need to find that out.
Because all of this stuff isn't on there. Battery tools, string lights, skid steer tires.
turn out here only. You should turn out there.
Does he have a vendor for the tires?
It was in our packet.
DC,
No, the other tires with.
DC Motors.
Pages, that's why I wondered.
DC Motors, it says, for the tires.
Yeah, because I've never seen Nick put something on the warrant if it had not even been purchased and paid for it. I mean, the refrigerator's on here now, and that's been here for a month. And you just see it now on the warrant.
From what I see on here, stuff we approved tonight, I don't see it on this report.
I don't either. So if we look into the Knox box one, you should have under Knox Company, there should be something that shows when that was purchased.
Do you know who the vendor is?
Knox.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Knox Company. Should be right under the Pennant Registry of Deeds.
For key secure one plug Wi-Fi Ethernet USB must be antenna. For mounting brackets. So the key secure one plug Wi-Fi Ethernet USB is $1,034 a piece, so that's $41.36. And then 4 of the mounting brackets, $80 each for a total of $320.
And what's the date on that invoice?
January 3, due date, December 4, 2023 is the invoice date.
I think you've been ordered, I don't think we've got them now.
So what are those then, Bruce?
That's the one,
Those are the ones for the truck,
yeah,
but they haven't been ordered. They've been ordered since December 4th.
Right,
I believe so, I got to check the Travis, so. I know we discussed it.
so,
So we probably don't have an invoice for the tires, because those haven't been even ordered yet.
No, because waiting for your guys' approval.
That's why they're not.
Right, but I know it's, can call the guy and get an invoice tomorrow, I'm sure.
all right, I'm gonna ask, page 9, we spent $1,990 for New England Kenworth, and all we have is facilities, general repairs and equipment.
CB Kenworth would be fire department.
So it's been billed to facilities. It was not CB Kenworth, it's New England Kenworth.
New England
New
Kenworth,
England.
but yeah, that's
That'd be fire department.
tanker 6.5.
And that's the stuff, I mean, that we want, you know, like when I put notes on here, which truck is this for? Which one is that for?
I haven't even seen New England Kenworth.
New England.
New England.
Yeah, I don't see I don't have an N.
Is there anything in between MT, CCA and O'Connor Motors?
Modern past.
Should we
Oh,
just
here we
keep
go.
going for that?
It just says service. November 14 service. Amount 19,962.
That should be the fire department.
Yeah, was it, what
It
happened?
doesn't say anything about, who.
But it is fire department, so that makes.
Yeah, because we're the only ones that Kenworths.
Yeah.
And it was an emission, the emissions light came on, we lost half power at a fire call. So I had to go up, only one can fix it, so.
Yeah, because my brain was like, we don't have a Kenworth.
Okay, I'll set that
Well, I was
aside
thinking in
and
facilities maintenance, I was like,
update that.
Yeah, we have 3 Kenworths.
Yeah, that's right, get three. Get three.
all right, and I'm almost done. On page 9 under race signs, it just says new signs, recreation. Do we know what those signs are?
Single spring sign stand for roll-up and special event ahead roll-up sign. So I think I've seen those out by the roads. Instead of those heavy. I remember you talked about that.
I thought we were gonna have some that were
Those heavy
installed
signs,
and we
I
just
know.
had to.
I know Melanie, you talked about putting one in your car once and how
Right.
difficult that was.
But then Carol, the point was like, what are these signs? Are these the ones that we were supposed to put in the ground? Because I don't remember the amount being quite this much either.
There's 4 of the single spring signs stand for roll-up signs.
Yeah, see, I remember first talking about putting in permanent signs,
Putting in
and
permanent
folded it
sign.
half over.
Right.
It was closed, one, but then we're gonna flop it open.
Maybe
And
that's
there's
what a
four
roll-up
of
sign is,
the
though.
4x4 special event ahead roll-up sign.
Yeah, these are.
Can you ask Dan if he can get us pictures of what these signs are?
I don't think that's what we're off.
Yeah, I think we were gonna do permanent.
I think you guys was waiting for approval from, DOT.
Right, we were gonna ask, so we had to check, because they're putting in the travel of the
Right.
right away.
Right away.
Yeah, I think you guys
Right,
had
DOT approval.
sending a letter to DOT to get permission to do
Right. Did we send a letter to DOT?
I don't have anything in minutes. I remember you talking about how heavy the signs were and how we needed new ones and.
Right, but this was like a year ago,
it. Was this some, it was this
but we were
spring,
gonna install them permanently, so they didn't have to.
it was after town meeting. That's
Right,
what brought it up, was the town meet, the signs being left out at town meeting and you guys
Right.
hearing them
We
then.
talked
Right.
about put one on either, each direction.
Yeah.
Right.
Basically, it's the
and then they
diamond,
wanted,
and half of it folds up and snaps and.
Right.
and they wanted two for around the village green. So that would be 4 signs,
Oh, yeah.
but I'd like to see what was purchased, because it doesn't sound like if it's some spring thing that,
Those sound like,
Like,
roll-up ones like we've had that you,
right.
that
Back
are
since
fiberglass bars that,
And since seeing it,
you know,
so it sounds like, I'm not gonna say it is, but it was a spring loaded
Looks
stand.
like a diamond shape
Yeah,
and then it has a stand. It has you can't really see it super well, but it does have a little tiny little picture thing.
yeah, that's exactly what we had for fire.
Right.
The incident head, so.
which isn't what we said to do.
And he may be using those for the village green
Well, but
concert.
that's not what we were talking
Right,
about,
so-
so.
It's not what we approved. So if you can just ask him for clarification, because it looks according to this warrant, like they've been purchased. And now I'm done.
Well, you picked up my 2 questions, so that's good. I don't have any, because I just questioned of the signs as well. And the surface thing.
Okay, anything else on the warrant?
I'm exhausted enough.
Okay,
So I
So
make a motion that we approve
okay,
the warrant.
Second,
all in favor, Melanie,
Yes,
Carol,
yes.
Dan,
Yes,
Peter,
Yes,
with the clarification.
all vote yes, 5 yeses with clarification. Right. Go to the ones that are on the tables. I move that we approve payroll warrant number 149 in the amount of $20,810.81.
Second,
Any
I
discussion?
know where you at.
149.
149.
Okay.
Payroll warrant.
All right, second. Oh, you already second.
Okay, all in favor, Melanie,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes,
Dan,
yes,
Peter,
yes,
all vote yes, 5 yeses. Okay, and I move that we approve BMV warrant number 150 in the amount of $4,718.75.
Second,
All in favor, Dan,
yes,
Carol,
yeah,
Melanie,
yes.
Peter,
yes,
all vote yes, with that, 5 yeses. BMV, I move that we approve BMV warrant 151 in the amount of $3,414.50.
Second,
All in favor, Dan,
yes,
Carol,
yeah,
Melanie,
yes.
Peter,
yes,
all vote yes, 5 yeses. I move that we approve payroll warrant 152 in the amount of $24,635.81.
Second,
All in favor, Dan,
yeah,
Carol,
yes.
Melanie,
yes.
Peter,
yes.
all vote yes. And
AP 153 will be for next Tuesday.
Okay.
okay,
You don't have that one.
okay.
All right.
All right. So. Town manager report.
We should be able to wrap up the budget and warrant articles for town meeting in early January as scheduled. Thanks to the great work of office staff, the Board of Select Persons, and the Budget Committee. The budget meeting scheduled for the next budget meeting will be January 8th at 6 p.m. Warrant articles for referendum voting or secret ballot are due January 17th. Deadline for officials and department reports for the annual town meeting report is January 5. Deadline for article submissions for the next newsletter is January 15. We plan to have this in the mail to residents 30 days prior to town meeting. Mary Vogel, Corey Alexander, and I met with cybersecurity and infrastructure security agent TJ Swenson, who is part of Homeland Security, to review building and elections security at both the town office and Center for All Seasons. TJ had a lot of suggestions and ideas. A report will be provided, which will be forwarded out to the full board. We don't have that yet.
But the report's coming from him.
Yes, it will.
Okay.
The state will be installing 2 fixed speed radar signs in the coming months. These are free to the town. There was a question about us having some input on where, which you saw I did reach out to them and said we want to discuss this before they do anything.
And did they agree to that?
Yes.
Okay.
We have scheduled refresher training for Trio Web in January with a go live date of February 27, 2024. We purposefully set that up to be after our audit so that Nick would be able to get all of that done prior to. We had our holiday gathering December 21st. We will be closing books tomorrow. In the past, we've closed at 12 noon. This gives us time to close books and still allows a time frame to contact Trio if there are any issues. Fire and Rescue finished up their capital plan, which I included in your packet for review. And the comprehensive plan committee was to meet December 20. That was canceled because of the storm. That's been rescheduled. I found out today for January to continue work on the comprehensive plan.
And there was talk, weren't they talking about doing 2 meetings in January since they missed the one in December?
Yes, I think they're looking at either the 24th or the 31st as well in January.
And then Trio Web, what are the changes that we can expect? Because I know there are a couple of towns that had issues with the Trio Web update and they lost a lot of information. So do they have the bugs fixed on that? Because that was why we didn't sign on. That's why we weren't doing it initially.
We pay, it looks like we paid for this previously. Well, I think we paid prior to me.
We did with Anthony, and then when we researched it and the assessor and the auditor alerted us to other towns who had done this update and there were major bugs. That's why we held off on it at the
I
time.
haven't seen anything or heard anything from other towns with major issues. And Mary and Nick and I have all agreed that we were ready to move forward, so. And Rob as well, I know we were waiting for him, for a few months. But I haven't seen anything or heard anything about any major issues with it.
I have heard, I think Chelsea may have been one of them. There's a couple of towns that had major lost a lot of information in their systems. So I just want to make sure the reason why we said no previously is that we're not pushing something through that we said no to previously. And what the changes are and how that's going to affect us.
There shouldn't be any changes on how the system runs. It's an updated version, but it's still the same, it will be the same, it's just updated, if that makes sense.
Do you
The
have any
processes and
notes
everything
as
are
to
the
the
same.
times?
I have to go back and look, because this was Anthony's time, and then after that, I know we had said no, because we weren't going to be doing the remote work. There was some questions about folks being able to access it remotely. And that some towns had lost major pieces of information, and it took a lot of time to get the information back. And I don't know.
Web's been out for a little while.
Yep.
It has been a couple of years.
Yeah, and that would have been at least a year and a half ago, it was Anthony's.
Yeah, so if we can just make sure that whatever the bugs are, because if we don't have to go to it, there's no reason for us to go to it until Trio says that everybody is forced to go to it.
I like the fact that the fire and rescue long-term plan goes out to 2052.
I know.
Yeah. So, all right, I was like, wow, I only asked for like a 2, 5, and 10. Let's go with decades.
30 years out. Okay, any questions for Lorna?
Which is means technology.
I actually forgot, I was gonna add that into year-end stuff, but we can, it doesn't have to be done this year. So, we're on a rotating schedule for updating our PCs to newer models. So there are the 3 up front for the clerks, and Nick's are all on the list. Those will be the next to update, replace.
So do we have money in the budget?
We do right now, yes.
Wouldn't it make sense to go back and approve it, so it comes out of money that's already raised?
Change schedule.
Well,
So,
what was that?
we're already on a.
Right, those are the ones that are up next to be replaced.
So they're in your 2024 budget.
2024 budget. They've already, but just so we stay on the same schedule with them, because they have us on every so many years, these ones need to get replaced.
These are the ones to be replaced, and it wouldn't actually take place until 2024, but they would be paid out of the current budget because we have the money available.
It seemed to me instead of having put more money, I mean, the same thing we do with fire and all the rest of them, if we've got the money, instead of loading it into putting another 5,000 next year, taxes, take it off and spend money we've already raised.
I don't have a problem doing that, 'cause like I said, if not, we're just shuffling money, it's going back into the general fund, and I'm gonna get out, back out again next
Right.
year. So,
So the total is $6,750, and that includes the hardware as well as the labor. Bruce?
Just one question. So is that 6,000? I didn't hear what the change was.
6,750.
Is that in 2024's budget?
No,
Why is it no?
was.
I didn't,
You said it would be changed next year.
yes,
So then they should have been in next
they
year's
should
budget.
have been in, but they are not. But we do have money this year.
So you're not gonna cut your, yeah, I
So,
mean, yes,
yeah, so we're not doing anything. What we're doing is we're covering our butts, because we didn't plan for it for next year.
so
No,
no,
if we don't do it now, we're gonna have to turn around and add it into next year's budget.
right.
So we might as well just do it now.
Right.
Okay, how did they get meshed?
Maine Tech does not have a complete list of all of our PCs. And so I've been trying to get a list put together. I've put a request out to all of the departments and come up with a list more comprehensive than what Maine Tech has, which they've asked me to share with them because they don't have a complete list. And gone, because you can go by the way they've numbered the units, you can tell which ones need to be updated and in what order. So there are several.
My understanding was that last year, we paid them to be doing that, so that every unit had a number, so that we could be keeping track of it.
They don't have a complete list. There are several PCs that the town has that they have no idea, and it's not on their list.
Then they probably need to pay them a substantial amount of money, so I think if that's the case, then they should come and explain why they don't. They should go to the facilities and see what they have for equipment.
Well, I think there are two issues. One, do we do that for this budget? And two, what do we do with dealing with the
The
tech
technology.
company to make sure that they do what they said they were gonna do in the other contract?
Right. Peter has a question. Peter?
I do two things to talk about. One, when it comes to computer fleet management, I agree with what Carol said. We need to have really MTC to come in and make sure we're all in agreement with what devices are out there, and then the update cycle for each one. There's no reason why they should not know what devices are out there. So that's one thing. The second thing is switching topics, going back to the fire department. Talked about is just a question. When eventually the depot station is replaced with the central station, my question is this: what happens to the depot station?
We don't own it.
We don't own it.
It reverts back to the person who owns it.
Whoever
So
that,
what is it, $1 for 99 years or something, is it?
No, it is just lease unlimited. You know, we may keep that building for cold storage if a landowner allows us.
If they let us. It's what, the Grange Hall or the house next door?
Across the road.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
of course, so, yeah, Drew would let you guys do whatever you want.
okay, thanks.
Same, kind of the same thing we have in North Belgrade.
Belgrade has lease too.
That one
Thanks,
kind of
Cliff.
slipped through the cracks, because when Hammond bought that, we were gonna get them to donate that little piece that they're sitting on to us, and we never did before they sold it.
Yeah.
Hmm. Thanks for the explanation. I didn't know how that worked out.
Well, back to this, I mean, if the money wasn't put in next year's budget and they're gonna be replaced and we have the money this year, we might as well do it.
Right,
Because if not, we're gonna be going back and changing the budget and adding more money into it.
I agree.
But I want, yeah, I don't love the fact that we don't have an accounting of what is out there. I know we've had the conversations a couple of times now about having that done. So I don't know why it isn't done. But it should be done, and now we're gonna change out PCs and we're gonna add some new ones, make sure these get on the list.
Yeah.
You know, we literally pay $26,000 a year for them to pay attention to what we have. So if they're not maintaining or even know what we have, how are we paying them for firewalls and things that we should be, if they're not protecting all of our equipment? So my thought on it is, let's put the money in next year's budget, and prior to that, I want an accounting from them of exactly what we have, so that we get it on a schedule. And we say these three were replaced in 2024, they need to be re-replaced in, say, 2028, or whatever the schedule is. We get a full accounting list, and if we have to add that into the budget, where our budget numbers aren't final anyway.
Either way, take one that doesn't,
I know, but I'd like to see, I mean, if we have 25 computers, I'd like to see a list of the 25 computers and what was their data service and when do these need to be replaced. But it's just like having an accountability of what we have for facilities, vehicles, and what do we have for equipment, and what do we have in all these locations, because everything has a lifespan, and we need to know that, we need to have these lists so that we can.
Yeah. Well, I would like to authorize Lorna to get in touch with Main Technology Group and compare your list with their list and make sure that they have a list and that all of our computers have what they need in terms of.
I mean, all of our emails would go through our server, so even if we have a computer hooked up they don't know about, it still would be going through the same server. Should be.
Yes.
So I think that's one issue. The other issue is, do we want to take money we've already raised and appropriated and buy these computers, or do we want to put it in next year's budget? We've already raised the money, I'd rather spend it.
I would just go ahead and do it now. Bruce?
Or the other way you can do it is you can kind of let it roll into the general fund and take that X amount of dollars out of the general fund to offset the budget to purchase them, because you have,
Well,
it's half dozen one, it's a clerical thing.
That makes it really messy for the auditor.
I move we approve the 6750 for main technology group for the computers for the 5 computers that need to be updated.
I'll second that. Any more discussion?
I'll end up agreeing to do it as long as main technology can get us that list in the
Right,
next couple,
I
3
agree.
weeks. I don't want this dragging out.
No,
I
I
want that list.
absolutely agree with you.
Agreed.
But if we approve the expenditure without it, there's no guarantee we're gonna get it.
Well, they'll want more money from, I mean, there are other expenses we have with them, so I think it's just holding them accountable. Which we need to make sure we do.
I have a list that I've compiled because I put a request out to all departments for an inventory of every PC and laptop that they have and then the number assigned to it.
Right,
So all I need to do is get MPC to give me their list and I'll forward that out. Their list.
and maybe
my
have them
list.
come in and meet
You
with
can
you
see.
and sit down and hash it out.
I mean, they need to come in and they should be one list.
Right,
Yeah,
Not their list, our list.
yeah,
right.
right.
Should go to each
It
facility
should
and
be our list altogether, theirs and ours.
Right,
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, Dan,
yes.
Carol,
Yes,
Melanie,
No,
Peter?
Yes.
I'll vote yes, 4 yeses, 1 no. Anything else? I move we adjourn.
second,
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
yes, yes.
Yes.
Good night, Peter.
Good night. Thank you.
Peter, we appreciate you zooming in and keeping your phone to yourself.
Thank you.
Even though
See
you're less funky now, and we always appreciate seeing you. I do appreciate when people stay home when they feel perfect.
Things to sign, folks. Don't rush out to.
you. Thanks.
Email list.